All right, so ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Today I've got my good buddy Trent Anderson, who we just met a couple days ago. He's coming in from Bangkok, and he's actually doing a site redesign now with my friend John Myers, who was on the show before too. And so he runs a site called anderson-bd.com, Beattie, and he also has a couple other gemstone sites. But what I found interesting about him was that he started all of his businesses with just $1, and then I think now he's doing well over $1 million. So today we're going to talk about his journey, kind of how he got started, and kind of what's his whole story. So Trent, what's going on?
Hi, welcome.
So you're a little more reserved than we were, 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. A little bit nervous.
Yeah, so I guess I told everyone you have a site called Anderson BD. You also have, I think, 6 or 7 other sites, right? So real general, quick notch. So what are they all about?
Right, so I'm in the gem and jewelry business. I've got 8 businesses in total. So Anderson BD is a relatively new site, actually. It's an opal website selling opal and opal jewelry from Australia only. And I partnered with a really important guy, Sir Rodney Beattie, who's the world's finest cutter of gemstones and opal in particular. That's my most recent work. Some of the older sites that I have that are more established is rainbowsapphireJewelers.com. That's kind of cool. That's a website that sells sapphires in every color of the rainbow, and we source those sapphires from like 24 different mines across the world. Put them all together in a graduation representing the rainbow, and is selling them in the jewelry itself. And then some of the older works is sites like ZavariteGreenGarnet.com, Shedar Soft, which is an Etsy store, HercumeDiamondQuartz.com. So they're all like crystal, gemstone, and jewelry websites.
So how do you break into this market anyways? Because I think now you have a lot of people on Etsy making their handcrafted stuff.
Right.
What was this market like when you first started almost like 8 years ago?
When I first started my first website, I didn't have an inventory. So what I did is I only had a camera. I was somewhat of a freelance photographer, just going around Southeast Asia, backpacking and scuba diving Indonesia and Philippines and Thailand. And then when I came to Thailand, I had a diving accident. I couldn't fly back to Australia, so I was stuck in Bangkok for a few months. It was just me and a camera, and I was down to my last dollar. So I took my camera. I thought, well, I don't have any inventory and I have no experience in this business, but I thought maybe I can sell a few things. So I took my camera and I went around to these different jewelry stores on Silham Road, and I said to the owners of the store, listen, let me take a photo of your jewelry. I'll try and sell it online somehow. When it sells, can we agree to a price? I put the item up on eBay and I created an OS Commerce website. Lo and behold, I'm in business, with zero experience, with zero expertise.
You were down to your last dollar.
Literally down to my last dollar.
What made you think e-commerce instead of like teaching English? Because I think that's what a lot of people tend to resort to, right? I think kind of as a skill set.
Well, I had a camera and a laptop. I don't know. I just got into the online business. I think it was much more of an option for me than teaching English. I can barely speak it.
Yeah, we'll see about this later in this recording. Yeah. All right. So you go to these jewelers. Did they actually give you a price first, or do you just kind of guess?
Yeah. No, they will get. So I would take some photos. I'd take my little studio in there, and all my studio was like a couple pieces of A4 paper, and then a couple of little lamps that I would clip onto an end of a table,
like a desk or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
And then I would take like 5 photos. So how they established the price is straight up that everyone was giving me between 30 to sort of 40% off the retail value of within the store. And then as my sales increased, the percent off the retail value got up to like 65 and 75% off.
Wow.
So it became much more attractive. So I lowered my prices and started to sell more volume. But these items were no joke. Most of the items I first started selling were like in the price point $1,000 to sort of $5,500 per item.
Really? So just right off the bat on eBay?
They were no joke to begin with. Yeah, on
Wow.
eBay. Yeah.
But how did you know this was legit? Because I think you didn't really have any experience in the industry.
I had no idea.
So you just said it was $1,000, $5,000 because you kind of just thought it was that much? Or?
Well, I only sold it for the item for the price they had it advertised in their store. So if they had it advertised in their retail location as $5,500, then I sold it for $5,500. My profit was the difference between what their retail value was and the discount that they gave me.
And then it got bigger and bigger over time as you worked.
My inventory increased, and what I did different to everyone else is I set up videos. So I got a little small rotation platform. It was like a mirror, and I was videoing the pieces of jewelry going around 360 degrees.
Yeah.
I was the first website back in the day to have my entire inventory with these videos. I mean, today it's very common.
Yeah.
Well, with my new opal website, andersonbd.com, you see I've taken it to a different level. So this was like what people were really interested in, like how does someone buy something online for $5,500 10 years ago? It was really, really difficult for people to make that decision. So I think the difference between me and everyone else was these videos.
Yeah.
And I believe that was the key in me becoming successful.
And this was 2006-ish? Or?
Yeah, 2005. December 2005 is when I first set up my eBay store, and in 2006 is when I made pretty much. It took me about nearly 9 months to make my first sale.
9 months.
Yeah, just.
And you were down to your
grinding.
first dollar. So what were you doing then?
I was just hustling.
Yeah.
Selling a couple of other small items. I went down to Chinatown, was buying items for like 3 cents and selling them for $1.99.
Yeah.
I won't get into what they were.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess you make your first sale. When do you realize that this is actually sustainable? Do the sales just keep coming in, or?
I had no idea. It's really sporadic. I mean, what I realize now is in the third quarter every year, you don't make money.
Yeah.
All the magic happens in the fourth quarter and the first quarter every year. So it was sales are really sporadic. I just kept increasing my inventory, going to new stores, showing them my statistics and saying, look, I take these items, and out of every 50 items I take a photo of, within 2 weeks I can sell 1. I can sell 2, I can sell 3. So it increased my inventory based on my previous history, my sales history. And then what I started to do was, instead of my top selling items, I'd started to manufacture through them. So instead of like just walking in there and saying, okay, here's this one item, I would say, okay, now I want 10, give me a different price point. So I would save a lot more money that way. I started investing my own money into product.
And you would go directly to the retailer saying you want to buy, or would you reroute behind them to the supplier?
Well, the retailers in Sealam Road are the manufacturers as well. You see, they source the stones, they buy from the open market in Canterbury or Bangkok. They're manufacturing themselves. They've got small workshops in and around Sealam Road, and then they're also retailing themselves. So it's an all-stop
one-stop shop. Yeah.
One-stop shop.
Yeah, so how did you educate yourself with all the stones? Because I know there's all these different kinds.
Yeah, so what ended up happening is I ended up partnering with a quite a large company, like $1 billion company in Canterbury, who in the day was one of the largest buyers of rough material in Eastern Africa. And so they have 12 international partners in this company. And I went to this factory, I caught a bus there like twice a week, just absorbed myself into this factory and hanging around the people that were in this factory. Yeah. And they were the best in the field, and I was just learning off them. And by being there was interesting people coming through, like Professor Dr. Henry Haney, all these other interesting guys that were like the top of their game. And it was just my curiosity that allowed me to learn more and more about the gemstones. And I didn't even realize it. Within a couple of years, I was like, I could tell the difference between fake and real, which sometimes takes people a lifetime. Yeah. Just absorbing myself into that environment.
When you talk about fake and real, are your consumers able to tell too, or because I don't know if most people have this kind of knowledge, right?
No, it's a real long
Well, I guess it leads to my
process.
next question. Like, if they don't know what's real or fake, how can they plop down like a 1K, 5K on like jewelry or?
Yeah, good question. I'm not sure how they had the confidence back in the day to do it. I think it was just based on like eBay reputation. I always had 100%, and I've been on eBay since 2003. But that was from selling things previously. But since 2006, when I've sold, I have 100% feedback. I think like good feedback on eBay, and not selling like high volume of items, but just selling like high value items and very few of them, and getting good feedback. They could see back in the day. It was fully transparent back in the day. It's a lot more tricky now. But when you see an item for $5,000 being sold and $7,000 being sold, and they're giving positive feedback, they get a lot of confidence from that, and gives them the ability to make the decision and purchase.
Yeah, like the feedback is the selling point, no longer what you write in the copy or because it's such a high priced item.
Yeah, I noticed the trend on eBay that everyone that purchased absolutely looked at feedback.
Yeah,
absolutely spent 30 minutes in my store browsing around. You know, there was like these definite things that people did before they spent $5,000.
And did you have like a phone number for people to call you? Or?
Never.
And they would just buy this. Wow, it's crazy.
Yeah, so it even happens today. Like I do have a phone number in the US, but I only receive I've got 8 companies, and we only receive like 2 phone calls a day. Because I believe that if people are asking these questions all the time, then that information should be put back into the listing. It should be put back into the site, so that you're eliminating those phone calls. The trust should be there.
Like if you're getting the same questions over and over, you should be fixing your website copy so it doesn't happen.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, cool. So you mentioned you had 8 businesses, but before we get there, you were in Thailand just hustling, and you talked to the suppliers to try to source their top sellers. How'd you go from there to like 8 stores?
It's so diverse, the gem and jewelry business. It's massive. The scope is just out of this world, and I realized that I started to get into like a diamond jewelry, and I had no success, and I couldn't work out why. I thought the quality of the jewelry was fantastic. I thought the price was fair, but the problem is that you have 10,000 other competitors. It was too broad. Everyone else is doing it. So I started doing only blue sapphires, only rubies, only emeralds. And again, I realized I failed there because everyone else was doing it. They had more money on marketing. Yeah. They had more money to spend on on every aspect of the
Billboards,
business.
posters,
Oh, absolutely,
magazine ads, things
absolutely.
like that, right?
And I was on a shoestring budget, so I realized real quickly that that wasn't the path I wanted to go down. So because the partner at the factory was the largest buyer of rough material in Africa, I realized that these rare and hard to find minerals no one else could source, and so I started to buy small quantities of them and trickle them out online, and the response was overwhelming. No one else can buy this, therefore I should hoard this material.
Exactly.
So I started becoming like a gemstone hoarder of certain species of varieties of gemstones.
You just think about how many people can go into East Africa and just start mining stones, like a handful of people, maybe a handful of companies.
It's interesting. Anyone can do it.
Yeah.
I mean, mums and pops and families can go down.
Oh, really? I had no idea.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
some stones, wash down creek beds, and some stones are a big production.
Yeah.
But anyone can do it, I think, in Eastern Africa.
Yeah. But just back then, you had the contact with the supplier that gave you this edge.
Right.
When you buy inventory for stones, I guess stones there's not like unlimited quantity like cotton. You can just make 10,000 tons of cotton. Right? Like stones is probably more limited. What does that market look like when you're sourcing? Like, do you always have to buy ahead of the cycle? Like, do you put money up front and then they find the stone, or like how does that work?
I don't think about that.
Yeah.
I would walk into the factory and whatever they had in front of me, I would have my laptop next to me and I would Google that. No one was selling that. Cool, that's what I want.
Gotcha.
So I would have a standing order on that stone. Let's take, for example, tawhite. It's the 4th or 5th rarest mineral found on the earth. And so back in the day, I was buying tawhite for $20 a carat. So I would have a standing order with my factory to say, okay, anything up to $250 a carat, I want to own. So for the next 12 months, I would hoard that material.
Gotcha.
And then I would create a line or a line of jewelry, or I would sell the loose gemstones based around what they had. You can't forecast the product. You just can't. But they're so rare, it's very difficult to think that way.
Yeah.
I would just buy the rarest of material and work it out later.
Yeah.
And
has there ever been any cases where you bought the stones and then you couldn't figure out the business model, or has it always worked out?
No, hence 8 businesses. It's just insane. I think the more niche you are, the easier it is.
And I guess even if you can't figure it, you can always resell the stones.
Absolutely.
Guess that's a last resort, right?
Right. There's a website I'm selling right now, zavaritegreengarnet.com, where the site itself has never made a sale. But this is an idea where I've been hoarding stones for 7 years. I own a massive inventory of Zavarite green garnet. Yeah. It's a variety of garnet that's only green. And it's only from like 2 mines in the world, from Madagascar, from Tanzania, and Kenya. So I've collected all these gemstones, production quality, really high-end, rare quality of the Zavarite green garnet stone, build jewelry and sell the loose gemstone. Yeah. But I never got around to doing it. But no, there's never been a case where it doesn't work. I just buy the material, create a site, and then sell it. Gotcha.
So now you have 8 sites, and we were talking earlier how you want to focus on your main ones. So I guess let's go into Rainbow Sapphire. How did this one start?
Rainbow Sapphire Jewelers. The factory, because they were sourcing so much sapphire from 24 different mines across the world, they started to create the rainbow lines. The factory came up with the idea to create these lines.
Just because they had so many stones.
Yeah, they put them together. It was so beautiful. That comes in like square, it came in round. And so when I saw that, I looked online and there was no one else doing it. I was like, wow, that's a really great idea. So I started just selling the loose stones to begin with. 7 pieces of rainbow sapphire, 1 of every color. And I was like, well, why not put that into jewelry? I was selling gemstones for quite a while. And then I started manufacturing, actually for the first time, my own jewelry. I started designing by myself, started creating my own line. I just bought the rainbow sapphires and started off with the most simple, classic styles and put the rainbow sapphires in there, and they sold. And so now all of a sudden you go from being a middleman into... And now all of a sudden, all of a sudden I'm a designer. It was crazy. The transition was overnight.
And it's interesting because you're basically just bundling a bunch of stones together into a new product, right? Because if you sold these individually, you had to compete with
There's no value. There's no value in the blue to sell that size in the blue, and there's no value in selling that size in the yellow. But the moment you put them together, it's really unique. It's got a different whole spectrum of colors. Yeah, and no one else can do it, because what happens is people can go to an open market and buy the blue, buy the red, buy the green, buy the purple, buy the pink, because then the cutting is all different. You see, because they're cut by different. Right, the square is not just a square. It needs to be the same table height between the girdle and the top, and it needs to be specific cutting in order to be manufactured consistently. So the beautiful thing with the factory is that they're buying all these different colors. They're cutting it all uniform so that it makes manufacturing really, really easy. So yeah, they created this for me, and all I did was I took that, put it into a piece of jewelry.
And for someone to even copy this, you need to cut every stone, like you said, in the same shape for it to work.
For someone to copy this idea, I think it would take hundreds of thousands of dollars just to buy the range of sapphire from the mines and cut it in uniform in the same factory. Really difficult to replicate. Almost impossible, which is why I'm so confident going into this project.
Yeah. And you've been running this store for how long?
I've had this store for about 6 years.
Gotcha.
But this Rainbow website, Rainbow Sapphire Jewelers website, is only 3 years old. Before that, I didn't have it my own site. I was selling it under a different umbrella. But now I have the unique niche line of RainbowSapphireJewelers.com.
So you mentioned you started on eBay, getting feedback there. And when you went to your own sites, how did you do the marketing for these sites? Was it just organic traffic, or?
For the first 5 years, I think I worked between 15 and 18 hours a day, sitting in my room on my laptop, just trying to work it out, just concentrating and trying to work out step by step as to what was necessary to market, to sell, to produce. Yeah, I did it all myself in the beginning. I was just a one-man show.
So you were just doing outreach to, like, say, blogs or PR outlets, or kind of?
Back in the day, I don't think blogs existed for me 10 years ago.
Yeah.
No, what I was doing is I was buying other domain names. Like, for example, if I was selling Zavarite Green Garnet, then I would own ZavariteGreenGarnet.ws or .net. And I was creating like content on those websites that was the rich content on those websites, and then I would funnel my traffic into my websites through other domains.
So you were actually writing just a crap ton of content for 15 hours.
Yeah, and it was really terrible. Yeah. When I look back at what I did, I was like, wow, it's really amateurish.
Yeah, and you said earlier you can't really speak English too, so imagine writing it.
Yeah, I mean, my writing's not too bad. What's considered grey hat today in SEO, like I was doing 7 years ago.
Yeah, like having seeder sites that you build content on that link to your main site. Like, that's kind of what the private blog networks are now.
Right,
So,
right.
But I guess back then, no one really knew how to...
No, I was testing, and I was really like hustling, trying to make it work.
Yeah, so you were kind of doing... So you were just writing a bunch of content, getting the long tail funnel to your main site. So
Absolutely.
really, it's kind of like white hat, but not really grey hat either. I
didn't even know what white hat, grey hat, black hat was back then. I had no idea. I was just flying by the seat of my pants.
And it's just all manual, like you're sitting in a room building these sites.
Yeah. In an unair conditioned room with boxer shorts on a plastic seat for 18 hours a day, just like getting it done 7 days a week for 5 years. I really like sacrificed everything to make this work.
Yeah. And so when you started seeing success for these sites, did you start looking into other channels, like say paid traffic, or what does the mix look like now between like these main sites?
The first investment I made was with an Israeli company, an Israeli marketing company, and they completely changed my business model. Actually, I went backwards I lost 50% of my sales within a 2-year period. They tried to turn my niche in what I created in 5 years in a niche. They tried to cast back out like a wide blanket. So going back to sapphires and diamonds and emeralds.
Oh, they went to niche.
Yeah, they just tried to make me more generic, and that wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
So the first attempt at employing an outside company didn't work.
Yeah. So what does it look like now? Are you doing AdWords now too, or?
Yeah. Now I have AdWords. I had several campaigns set up by a guy in the DC called Simon Price, and the AdWords look okay.
Yeah. Because when you're selling jewelry, that's 1K. 2K, you can kind of afford to acquire people at a higher cost too. Yeah,
definitely.
I guess that, right?
Yeah, my acquisition cost is quite high. But I think the beautiful thing about what I do is that the customer service is strong, the product is strong. So like, okay, although the customer acquisition cost is high, it's all about the repeat business.
Yeah.
So what happens is over the years, I have these customers that consider me, they're like their private jeweler, and they love it. And they're always coming back. Every time they want something made, they're constantly coming back for repeat business and designing and themselves, and they come to me with a budget. It's cool, I just make it. It's fantastic.
And I think people who can afford 5K on a necklace, they have friends who can also buy the same thing too, right? When they go to a party, they say, hey, where'd you get this? Oh, I got this on the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go to you.
Absolutely. And I think like if you Google my name or Google any of my companies, you'll find very little, like maybe one comment in 10 years, like negative against me. Yeah. So I think that's also very, very important, having like no black marks against you on the internet.
Yeah, especially in jewelry where it's really, I guess everything's reputation based, but especially with high priced item, it's even more sensitive.
definitely.
I think that too. So you have 8 sites now, and you're trying. How many are you trying to sell?
I'm trying to sell like 3 bundled together because it makes sense, because those 3 companies use the same factory. It's just a small little factory, and they only require 1 employee between the 3 companies. So it makes sense for me to bundle 3 of them together. So that's like, it's the HercumeDiamondQuartz.com site, but it's also the Hercume Diamond Quartz Etsy store and a Shadar Sof Etsy store, because they're all similar styles. They're using the same manufacturing, and they got like really low cost. So I'm trying to sell those 3 sites right now to free my mind. It takes a lot of energy to run 8 companies.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, the headspace, it takes it in your head, and you can focus on the bigger businesses.
Exactly. So I want to free that up. So all 3 of those companies I'm selling right now for like $120,000. Then there's another one, there's AbRigerandGarnet.com, which I want $305,000. And although that hasn't made a sale yet, the thing is the hard asset.
It's the
sourcing that. I mean, that takes a lifetime for anyone else to source that physical asset, because it's really difficult and rare material to source. And I've got some really fine material, and it's all been cut by Sir Rodney Beatty. Who's, again,
just by his reputation could probably...
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a gemologist. He's been cutting gemstones for close to 48 years. Just his eye for detail when it comes to cutting fine stone. He's really, really an amazing cutter. So the stones, you can guarantee they're all like really high quality, nice cutting.
So what do you think your customers look for when they're buying these jewelries? Like, they know the stone's good, but what's on a deeper level? Is it like the fact that they can wear something that their friends don't have, or what are they looking for?
Yeah, most of my customers that come to me that buy this rare stuff is they're different type of people. They want something that no one else has. It's the same reason that I buy the stones. I want something that no one else is selling, because it's actually easier to sell. Although it's a bear market, it's easier to sell something that no one else has than to go into a fully saturated market. And I think my customers are like that as well. You know, like a doctor that has all the money in the world can buy anything he wants, but to find this rare mineral that no one else has makes him feel good. So a lot of my customers want something that no one else has, that's not common, that's uncommon, that's untraditional.
Yeah, there was something I saw Seth Godin at a fashion conference this summer, and he was saying from this new startup brand, he was saying, well, what do you buy your wife when she has 3 Birkin bags already, right? Or 3 Tiffany rings. Like, you can't buy her another one. Like, this doesn't make sense, right? So I think people are looking for something different.
Right.
Where kind of you fall into that niche too.
Right, definitely. Like, my favorite stones are stones that change color naturally. Alexandrite, color change garnet, color change sapphire. So even though it's a sapphire, in the morning it may be blue under natural daylight, but in the evening under incandescent light it may be raspberry, or it may be purple or red, and it happens naturally.
Is this because of the temperature change or light?
The temperature of the light. These natural phenomena that happen is really rare, and it happens naturally in nature, and that's just a beautiful thing. So that's the sort of stone that I would collect, and that's the sort of stone that you could sell to this customer that has everything.
Yeah.
Because they don't have everything. They haven't got this.
Yeah.
And it's so difficult to source. Very valuable.
Yeah, so when you say it's valuable, how do you price something like that then? Like, say, I've seen your site, you have jewelry from, say, $500 to like $10K. Like, how do you determine the price of it? Because I think a lot of people starting out, I think there's a pricing thing where if I charge too high, I might alienate customers, but it's always never what you think it is too. So how did you come up with this pricing for different jewelries?
Well, how I started pricing rare and hard to find minerals was that, say for example, my Taphiite or Musgravite collection. So it took me 5 years to acquire the hard asset, collecting the stone. So okay, well, money has to make money. So if I invested, say, $100,000 over 5 years, I work out what that money should have made me. And okay, now that $100,000 owes me $200,000 as a cost. And then I just multiplied it by 3.5. And that's my figure. I mean, I don't have like a special formula. There's no market research. It's just like, okay, 3.5.
And you found that customers are just willing to accept a 3.5 or whatever it tends to be at that point in time? Or?
But if no one else is selling it, then how do they know what the price actually is?
Yeah, that's true.
So, yeah, they always accept it.
So I guess the takeaway is that if someone's starting today, you want to find something that you can really dominate from the sourcing into the distribution, because then you can have the pricing power to really...
Oh, absolutely. If you look online now for the Taphiite price, the prices they're selling at now were created by me, and that probably will be forever. They'll probably stay like that forever until I go back into the market and create a new price. And it happens with everything I do. I've found that with the rare and hard to find things that I've done online, I've created the price. And then it's just stuck around for years.
So how do you deal with, like, say, fakes or things that are like cheaper quality?
In the factories that I buy from the stone, they go through a couple sets of gemologists to begin with. So they go under these guys' eyes, they go under all the instruments to tell whether fake's real. The guesswork has been done. Then when I receive it, I do my own investigation. And actually what's interesting is the cleaner the stone, if a flawless stone is very difficult to tell real, not real, because there's no natural fingerprints within the stone.
Yeah.
But say a stone that's not so clean, it's not internally flawless, I can recognize the fingerprint that the stone has and go, I know that fingerprint. I know that fingerprint belongs to this variety of gemstone. I know what that is. So it goes through professional sets of eyes, then it goes under my eyes, and then when I have the confidence it is a genuine stone, then I'll sell it.
And it's a genuineness, kind of like just there is some ruggedness to these stones, right? Because part of geology, nothing's perfect, I guess, too, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, in a lot of stones that I sell, a lot of beauty in the stone is the inclusions.
Yeah.
When you look at rutilated quartz, it's full of rutiles.
Yeah.
So it's quartz with golden rutiles or tourmaline inside the quartz.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the beautiful thing about the stone itself, is the inclusions, the fingerprints.
Yeah, it's funny. It's the same thing with leather, too. Like, if you look at the fake leathers, they always look really perfect, because a real cow would have scratches, it'd run against the barbed wire, like a tusk, you could get cuts here and there, right? I mean, it shows up on the actual skin, but sometimes they shave it off to perfect it, and usually that's when you can tell, like, oh, this doesn't look natural. But like, the more shiny it is, the more, I guess, even it is, the more unnatural it is, which is kind of counterintuitive, because most people think, oh, why is there an imperfection here?
Right.
It shouldn't be that way.
It's only been the last 3 years that I've started to sell stones of the highest quality, like perfect stones.
Yeah.
I had to get to a level where I was so confident in looking into the stone and learning from the people around me that I was able to go out there and buy stones on my own outside the factory. So it's only in the last few years that I've actually started to sell almost perfect stones, world-class quality, because I didn't have the confidence before. I relied on having those fingerprints, those flaws within the stone in order to tell what it was.
Yeah.
But for the average person that buys a stone, they have no idea.
They don't look. No idea.
Yeah, they don't look under a microscope at a stone. They just trust that the seller is selling something.
Yeah, and the reviews of people who are buying it from you.
So now I've partnered with Sir Rodney Beatty. He's a gemologist as well, and also a good trusted friend. So everything goes under Rod's eye as well. He puts his signature to everything nowadays.
Yes.
So
he has his own certification type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, we send a certificate of authenticity with all our high-end purchases now. He checks over all the stones, and when he's happy, then they get put into my inventory, into my database, and they get sold.
Gotcha. So one thing I want to ask too is, if you have the inventory of all these precious stones, has there anyone been trying to, like, buy you guys out, or like any bigger companies that have been trying to take you under their wings, or?
No, it hasn't happened like that.
Because it sounds like you would fit right under some bigger company's separate arm, but I don't know if that's the way the industry works. Or
with the Rainbow Sapphire, there is competition there, and yes, it makes sense for them to buy me out.
Yeah.
But no, I wouldn't, because I'm about to do something quite unique and special in the next 3 months. I know I've had a lot of hate mail from competition, say in the Herkimer Diamond Quartz business. I go into a business so hard and strong and set it up so well, I suppose, that I eliminate the competition within a 12-month period.
Yeah.
So I know it sounds bad, but like, I ruin their lifestyle. Like, from one day that they're at the mine buying the stone and selling from the mine, and they're selling retail online.
Yeah.
And I walk in with an idea, and I just take away all their business within a 12-month period. I just really like obliterate the competition. So there's a lot of people that, when I first get into these niche businesses, that send me hate mail like, "Hey, you're ruining our lives." Like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm successful at what I'm doing. What do you want me to do? Yeah.
And do you find it crazy that you got here so far from just being down to like $1? Like, do you ever reflect back on that day and be like, wow? Like,
you know, it's funny. The people I hang around in Bangkok are all between the ages of 60 and 83. I don't have any friends really in Bangkok in this business that's younger than 60, and none that are older than 83.
Yeah.
But they've all say it's quite remarkable, because to be in this business, most people are born into the business, or they've come into the business with millions of dollars. It's quite rare that someone so young is given the opportunity to come into the business or survived in this business. And I think it was just like good mentoring from a good family friend of mine from the beginning about ethics and work ethic, and my own personal drive to succeed just made it work. It was the right formula.
Yeah.
You know,
Where do you think your personal drive comes from? Was it like never wanting to be back down to $1 again, or certain lifestyle you wanted?
No, it wasn't that at all. It just, whatever I do, I just want to do it to the best of my ability, and I'm constantly taking that to a new level. So it was just my expectations on myself. It was never the money. It was never anything else. It was just myself doing the best that I could, and then bettering that, just upping the game constantly. And even today, it's like this. I mean, even today, I'm worth like there's 75 cents in the bank. You know, it's all about the business. It's not about the money. It's about making a better product, a better service, and upping the game constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. And one thing you mentioned earlier was about mentorship. And I guess, do you want to talk about the mentor you had earlier?
Yeah, I've had a few mentors in Bangkok. There's been a couple of guys. One guy was 83 years old, and he was just mentoring me on buying and selling of stone, but the work ethic. He was constantly drilling into me work ethic, having no friends and sacrifice, just like the things that people would normally do at the age of 25, 26, 27, being out there partying and hanging around, having girlfriends, and just, he would constantly drill me on what it takes to become successful. And I think it played a really important part in where I am today.
Because I think a lot of the times when you try to find a mentor, you don't know if you found the right one either, right? When you're trying to just still green to everything. What do you think made you really resonate with him? Or
although there's a massive gap in our age, we think so similarly. He's an Afghan-born citizen, American educated. His birthday is 3 days before mine. We have the same taste in food, women, lifestyle, gemstones. I never knew he was my mentor. I didn't know what was happening at that time for the first 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, I didn't know he was my mentor until I looked back and reflected and went, he was my mentor.
Yeah.
I was just like taking in what he said and thinking about it and just trying to be a better person and trying to create a better product, a better business as a result of what his input was.
Yeah.
But it all comes down to yourself. I mean, if you don't have the drive, if you don't have the ability to focus on what you're doing, I think, mentor and a strong mentor or a weak mentor, you'll fail.
Yeah. When you say focus and drive, what were some of the things you gave up when he told you, like, work ethic?
Well, there wasn't anything that I had. Good meals, car, a decent unit, even a good laptop. I was working on a chunky 5 kilogram Acer laptop. I mean, I sacrificed everything. I wouldn't even have my aircon running in my apartment because I didn't want to spend the money for electricity. So I think I sacrificed everything. I had no friends for 5 years. I just worked.
Say like in year 3, what made you realize that, or did you see the light at the end of the tunnel, or like 5 years is a really, really long time?
Yeah, but it went really, really fast. It really did go fast because I was really enjoying it. I enjoyed the success, the personal success of creating the videos and making a sale, and these small steps of success that I was reaching made me more hungry for it. I just never lost sight of that, and I never thought about it. I never thought about because I never had anything, like because I never had the friends or the lifestyle, I wasn't missing anything.
When you start out and you see that sale and you realize it's the work you've done the past 1 or 2 months, then you're like, all right, I got to put more in, because then more will come back, right? Is that the same mindset we're getting at?
Yeah, it was a snowball effect. Yeah, for sure. It was an absolute snowball effect.
And so for someone that's looking for a mentor, you've been in this business for 8 years, what would you tell yourself if they were looking for a mentor or someone else? Like, what should they look for? What should they avoid? Because I know some mentors try to make people into what they were or what they couldn't be, and I think when you're starting out, it's hard to avoid that too. So what would you say? I
mean, you should always surround yourself with people that are older or better than you, that have more life experience, that are more knowledgeable. Even today, I don't have any friends my own age, and I think that really helps.
Yeah.
Having friends that are younger than you, have less experience than you, you can't really learn so much from them. Although it's different in the DC group, there's a lot of intelligent people in this group.
Yeah. And some of the guys in the DC, they're probably like 18, 20, but you give them 5 years where we were when we were like 18. Like they're going to crush it.
It's remarkable where some of these people are in the DC. It's being over here in Saigon and meeting this group. It's really inspiring.
Like, it's still a young crowd, but you can see the trajectory of some of these younger guys.
Absolutely.
I wish I was 18 and knew what you knew, right?
Right. If I could go back and just know this group 5 years ago, I think I'd be 5 times further ahead than I am now. It's been a lot of blood, sweat, and tears to get where I am right now.
Yeah, like one thing I think a lot of it takes is humility too, to be the dumbest guy in the room.
Oh, absolutely.
Because when you're the dumbest guy, that's the only time you can learn.
I constantly feel like that.
Yeah. but it's a good thing in the sense that that's how you become a better person, you become better at business, you learn new things, you try new things, and you kind of plant the seeds to down the road to see more success too.
Anyone that knows me knows I'm not highly intelligent. I think all it is just work ethic.
Yeah.
Just like really believing in yourself and concentrating on your craft and being the best you can be at it, and surround yourself with winners.
Yeah. Like I think we've only met each other 3 times, 4 times. Like when I'm talking to you, I feel like there's this intensity you have to focus on things and then just be like, fuck everything else, like let's do this.
Yeah, I'm really passionate about what I do. Whatever I do, I'm always passionate about it. Whether it be like attending yoga or racing motorbikes or training dogs or gemstones or women. I mean, I'm really passionate about whatever it is I'm into at that moment. I'm really passionate. And what I love about the gemstone and jewelry business is it changes every day. New stones, new jewelry, fashion changes, you're learning something new. It's not like a mundane job, so it's different every day. And I love that about this business, the same as dog training. It's new, it's every day, it's something different. You teach the dog something else, you understand something about the dog every day. That in itself is enough motivation for me to want to become better at what I do. What I think I do best is connect the dots.
Yeah.
I'm just a master at connecting the dots. I don't think there's like anything, one particular thing I do special. I just think I connect the dots better than other people with lower risk.
And you probably move faster too than most people.
Oh, definitely.
Than your competition too.
Definitely. Yeah, I think I have the ability to make decisions faster and have confidence in myself that it's going to work. And I'll just work until the end of time, until I achieve my goals. Absolutely.
And just to wrap things up here, because we have a lot of people that are looking to start stores that listen to this. Maybe they're a year or 2 in. Do you have any advice for them before we wrap things up here? Because you've been in this business for 8 years now?
Yeah. Go as niche as you can. It's much easier to get out of, say, the Google sandbox, being a niche site. Surround yourself with people that are better than you in the business and learn from them. Don't tell them what you're going to do. Just sit there and listen to them. I think like just listening to the experts is very, very valuable, as opposed to like spewing out ideas and wasting people's time. Also, like joining groups such as the DC, I think it can really, really help with your online business for sure. I think it's a very valuable part of building a business.
Well, I guess let me ask you one more question. So you've been in the business for 8 years. How have you filtered out advice that's good for you and bad for you? Because there's certainly people saying you should do this, but they probably don't know what they're talking about, right? So how do you filter that out?
I don't know how to switch my brain off. So I suppose when I hear something, I just think about it intensely for a couple of days before I make a decision. And if it feels right for me, if it feels natural to make that decision, then I make it. If it doesn't feel natural or I'm not sure, then I'll think about it for another few days. I mean, just think about it and think about it and think about it. And when you're comfortable, make the decision and don't hesitate. Don't look back. That's for sure. Because
you just sit there and think about it. It doesn't get anything done, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of people that procrastinate and spend too much time thinking and not doing anything. Yeah, you need to move fast and run. Run as fast as you can.
Yeah, awesome. Well, speaking of running, we're kind of running out of time here. So thanks, Trent, for coming on for the show. And we'll keep in touch. I'll see you in Bangkok in October?
Yeah.
In January when you come back here to Saigon. So
cool.
Nice to have you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Build My Online Store podcast. If you want the show notes, make sure to check out the website at buildmyonlinestore.com. And if you got an e-commerce store, every 2 weeks I lead a live mastermind call with about 5 or 6 of the listeners in 2 separate groups where we work openly together and solve a business problem that you have. And we're all there to support each other. So if this sounds like your cup of tea, make sure to check us out at buildmyonlinestore.com/mastermind. Thanks again for tuning in, and I'll catch up with you guys next week.